The brain fog is thick with me. So if I just forget a word, just go with it because
I just figured out what's wrong with my day. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Nothing was going smooth. Everything was just like half a step behind. I'm just identifying with you today.
Thank you so much.
Yep, I'm there for you.
Bandwagon.
Yes.
Man, no, the brain fog is thick with this one.
I just wanted something to blame, so I chose you.
Perfect. Yes,
You're
I
funny.
was told by my therapist that it should go away in the next couple months. So
Yes.
I'm so
You see a therapist? I need one.
So they put me into medical menopause.
Okay.
And along with that, they gave me a psychologist because they were like, this is a lot. Be
Right.
ready
It's
for it. And I was like, okay. So we had a baseline appointment. And then yesterday we had our second appointment. And I told them the most frustrating thing for me right now is the brain fog. I cannot focus on anything.
wow.
I am all over the place. My brain just,
Almost every
talking to
single
clients,
woman
talking
I
to
know have
people,
said.
But that could be part
yeah.
of, I don't know if you're going through menopause yet or whatever, but
They
I've
put
gone
me into
through that.
medical
Yeah, they
menopause,
forced
so yeah.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, they gave me a shot and shut things down.
Oh, yeah.
So it was
wow.
and
So
menopause.
you didn't
Yeah.
get to
And here
right
I go.
now.
You're like, and
No.
menopause walked in and the
Yes.
other.
I experienced hot flashes,
Mood swings.
and that was fun.
it's gonna
I was
come.
all of a sudden like, I'm dying. It's so hot. I can't handle it. Anyways, yeah. Addison was
So-
like, oh, Mom.
Oh, see, that's why they call it menopause, because
Yeah.
men complain about such things and they don't call it womenopause. So we
Yeah.
have to now.
Everything bad starts with the word men. Menstrual menopause. Oh, it's so good. Anyways. All right. I guess we could actually get started now.
do.
Sometimes I play it safe, and you can see it. It's easy for me to show. But sometimes I'm really brave, and that just means that I'll try again tomorrow. It's my doubt creating mountains where the valleys used to be. Gotta change perspective if I really want to see.
Welcome to Unfiltered. Sorry that it's been a couple weeks. The schedule's been a little all over the place right
Life
now.
has happened.
And that's
Yeah.
just life.
So-
And we don't have to be on a schedule, so I love that.
Yes.
And today we have a very special guest. I'm very excited.
I'm
We
excited
have
to be here.
Angela Allen is here with us. And she's a very dear friend of ours. And
Yes.
we are
She
very,
is.
very excited for
I'm
her to
excited.
join us. So we just want to know who you are. Just give us a little background about who you are, just kind of a little bio, right?
Yes.
About who you are and what you're doing.
Well, my name is Angela Allen. Born and raised in Saginaw, Michigan. Been here for about 24 years
Okay.
in Grand Rapids, and I do love it. I love the people. I love my church. It's just a different environment, it's still kind of hard to get connected to a lot of the church women because there's no sisterhood. And that's what I've been praying for.
So important.
Like a sisterhood. So I just recently started stepping out the last 3 or 4 months at my church, introducing myself, loving on the women. And so it's just been really exciting.
Good.
Yeah. And I have
Good.
2 kids, 31 and 23. And my husband has a son as well, 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are they still local? Or have they
Yeah.
moved away?
Yeah, they live here.
Okay.
They live here in Grand Rapids
That's great.
still.
That is
And
fantastic.
the super, super cute little granddaughter.
Yeah, my grandbaby.
She's
Yeah,
the
she's
cutest
Promise.
thing.
Yes. I love her dearly. I
I
only
will-
want one though.
I will
That's it for me.
forever picture her dressed like a princess at your
Yes,
wedding, just as cute and beautiful as can be.
Yes.
Oh,
How
it
old
was
is
She
she?
amazing.
is so adorable. 4 years old.
Oh, I love that.
she was so cute.
Yes, she is. My heart.
That is great. So you had told me that you have a book that's coming out, and so I wanted to talk to you about that. Tell
Okay,
us
great.
about this book that is going to be coming
Well,
out.
the title of my book is called Celibacy Journey because it is a journey for those that want to save themselves for their husband. You know, a lot of women, Christian women, struggle with that. And it's a conversation that needs to be had. We don't talk about it. I guess because a lot of women, they are embarrassed about it, of not being married. But like I always say, your marriage, Your husband is not the prize. It's you developing into who you are along the way. Because can no man take that away from you?
That is some truth there.
Yeah, yes. That is true. So my book is for women that's on fire for God, that want to do it God's way. Because he created sex for marriage, right? So why not do it his way? He has the blueprint for us. So I'm just sick and tired of these women just being loosey-goosey out in the street. Seriously.
In your story is, because I kind of know somewhat about this, and I have been awed by your story. And I didn't mean to interrupt, but I felt so much like I needed to just mention this at this point, because you didn't just write about it.
Right.
You lived this in a very unusual and difficult circumstances. And along with that, the loyalty and the true to you, it wasn't just truth to another person, but just to you, the way you just stood on your 2 feet as this is me, my values, my beliefs, and I'm in this for the long haul.
And it was all God, Heidi. It was all God. You know, I did not know a book was going to come out of this. It was a couple of months ago that the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, I need you to write a journal for my daughters. You know, I need you to write a journal. And I'm like, oh, wow, a journal. Yes, Lord, I will. Because I'm a procrastinator. I'm just going to be honest here.
I am too.
I procrastinate. I procrastinate.
I'm just so scheduled and organized. And
well, give me some of that. Oh my goodness.
No. That was complete sarcasm.
So when he said that he wanted me to write a journal, and I'm like, I just started thinking back the 12 years. Yes, 12 years of me being celibate, which was a hard, long journey.
For sure.
Especially
in this world and this society, it goes against everything that's considered the norm. Because sex and sexuality and all of that is so in your face. Every time you turn
even commercials.
Every time you turn around. And for some people, they very much, it's like and I'm going to even take it apart from even like a Christian faith, so to speak, just to even address it from that point of view. I'm sure that there's so many girls, young women and older women that are like, I want to live that way because I don't want to give pieces of myself away.
Right.
I don't want to be less than what I am. I want somebody to meet me where I'm at that honors me, but they don't get that support.
They don't get that
resources.
support.
Right.
You know, how to be celibate in a sexual rampage world, because it's kind of in your face. Everything goes, everything's okay, and it's like
it's gonna be
little
hard.
kids are really going
the
far
teenagers.
with it,
I'm focusing more too on the teenagers too, because they need guidance. They really do.
For sure.
They really do, and it just breaks my heart that how I just see in my race, you know, it's 64% of women that's not married, you know, from the ages of, 30 to like 55.
Is it really that high?
Yeah, it's really, really high.
Okay.
And so that right there is a problem. So I'm like, what are we going to do about it?
Right.
Why are we not helping these women and guiding them? So I am so grateful, I am so grateful that God trusts me with this assignment, you know, for his daughters. And I think that really lies in them understanding who they are and whose they are, who they belong to. Right. Because you're a daughter first before you're going to be a wife. You're a daughter of Jesus Christ. You're a daughter of God, so.
Well, and so often women or girls, I'm going to go with teenagers, look for their value in men.
In men.
You know, and quite often it could be the case of an absentee father or a busy father. Somebody that's in the home but is very busy, you know, working or traveling or whatever, or is just disconnected.
For sure.
And the teenage girls, they look for that identity and that acceptance and the attention.
But they like me
you
and
know,
they
I
love
feel
me, and
special.
any attention is
great,
any
attention.
Right?
And that's exactly it. And you can even have somebody that is extremely connected to their kids
Yeah.
And they still go that route,
Yeah.
because they're teenagers and their brains are mush, and they know, every little shiny thing is so exciting, and they look for the acceptance in their friend
and their
groups,
friends are doing that.
Absolutely.
It's just the norm all the way around. And I am not a prude. I'm just not. And I believe sex was just a beautiful gift that's been given. But I think we are beautiful creatures that are designed to be beautiful creatures and recognized and honored as such. And these little prom dresses are getting to be the size of a couple paper towels.
Make it long enough and pull it up to make it, cover.
They're just covering their nipples and their private parts. It is so out of control.
And the bathing suits too. The new style of there's nothing covering their butt cheeks at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're advertising.
I'm just even if I had this perfectly formed, flawless body, the idea of it is
you shouldn't want to show it off.
How is it special when it comes to time, special time, and that with my husband, if I just put it on display for all the world to see? It's how would you even dress sexy for your husband when you've already taken it all off, basically?
But then there's that fine line, though, too, in between celebrating your body, because we are beautiful women who God did create. He created us like this.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have that fine line of, I have this beautiful body. I am not ashamed of this beautiful body. I want to be able to show it off. And if I have curves, I'm going to show them off, But then you have that fine line of, where do you draw that line, of what you cover up and what you kind of keep hidden.
You ready?
Yeah. That was where the word was stuck and wouldn't come out. I told you it happens. So you were get there. I know you can do it.
I believe in her, and I was right. I think there is a line between dressing for your body to show yourself in its best light and to accentuate without being crude or crass or vulgar.
Right.
I believe that we aren't meant to wear formless, shapeless. That is not what we are. That's not what we have to do. We can wear things that fit us well and make us look our best. It's not about trying to to make when you take it's solely for sexual reasons or look at me instead of saying I feel
good
amazing
about myself. Right. It's definitely different.
So, and maybe some people can wear the bottomless bottoms and feel great, but I just don't know how.
But see, the sad part about it, Heidi, is that a lot of these parents are applauding their teenage girls by the things that they wear. That's so it's promiscuous, it's just too out there in your face. Where do they get these clothes from? The parents are buying it for them.
Yes and no. Sorry, I will disagree a little bit on
I would say
I was a teenager and my parents didn't buy the clothes for me, and I would wear them underneath the clothes that they thought that I was wearing.
I did that too, but now they're selling just so many skimpy clothes.
They're just
to wear. It's the norm now.
Because all the advertising, that's what's available. It's
that's
the trend, it's the style, and it's what there is. And then I would imagine, and I've heard it from, I was talking to one young lady actually, was trying to find a dress, and she's it's either very revealing, and she goes, I found this dress, and it looked amazing, and it's beautiful, and I'm pulling it on. And the slit, she said, came almost to the waist.
Wow.
Oh
almost to the waist. But she said everything else was just, it was a little higher and covered. And she said, such a beautiful look. So why did it have to get cut up almost the very front, all the way? It's just when you try to find something that isn't just some paper towel and a couple squares of toilet paper, then it becomes like this granny gown, which our young ladies don't have to wear that either. But it's not easy out there. You're bombarded from advertising, social media, other kids, just junk.
Every movie that you watch, every, it's in all the songs that you listen to, and it's very, very driven.
It's very sexually driven.
It is.
It's remarkable.
And people think that they need to put that in there to make money with it, you know?
Yeah,
And,
I know.
And I'm like,
The shock in your
this was such a good movie.
face.
If they could have just not had, like, it's so irrelevant. It doesn't even track with the rest
Right.
of it, you know?
Like,
I
why
mean,
is it needed?
Yeah, why is it needed?
I don't know. I don't know. There was the one show that we were watching, and now I'm going to blank on what it was. It'll come back to me. But anyways, we were watching it, Aaron and I were watching it, and all of a sudden there was this, like, porn. It was not even just a sex scene. It was, like, full blown. And both of us were like,
Really?
what? And we fast forward, and we're like, it had nothing to do with the storyline. It was like two characters that had nothing to do with the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it was only in that one episode. And they must have gotten so much heat for it because then it wasn't in the rest of the series.
Right.
And so I was
It's like
like
that shock value kind of.
we both were like, like
You know,
that doesn't.
But see, we know who's
doesn't
over
make
the
any
airways. The enemy is over the airways. He's over
yeah.
the radio, the TV, and all that. He's going to get any kind of distraction he can out of anybody.
Right.
So-
Why not use sex? That's what he does.
And where do you go from there? If
You
it's all about
can't.
shock value, where does it end when you've already put it all out there?
Exactly. What do you do if you are somebody that has already made that choice as a teenager, you know? And then how do you get back to a place where you want to be? You know, if you made that decision and you made the quote unquote mistake, but you can't go back to fix it. What do you do, you know, to kind of reconcile and to feel like you're back in that place? I guess we can talk about
That's
that.
what God died. That's what Jesus died on the cross for our mistakes. Nobody is perfect. You can always start over.
Right.
You
Always.
know, I'm pretty sure all of us done had sex before we got married, you know, so that's where you can start over.
Yeah.
Because Jesus died on the cross for your sins. And that's just, but I think as far as you being dedicated and understanding who you are, God would equip you with the strength that you need for the journey.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not that's not a sin that's going to send you to hell. That
Right.
is not your life came to a screeching halt and it's all over kind of sin. It just isn't, because the only one of those is denying that Jesus even exists. So everything else, our Father God can take care of so easily.
So easily.
Because he's so full of grace. And he doesn't want to punish us. He's not waiting to punish. He's like, I have this amazing life
Beautiful.
that I want for you. And he created us humans, so he knows us better than us. And he knew exactly what was going to happen when we said, but we want our free will because it's amazing. And so we have the consequences of that, but he's taken care of that too. And I think as long as in your mind you're just like, but I want to be this person. I want to step into
Right.
those shoes and live this life and be that person. And so I think it's, a lot of churches have done a huge disservice in condemning people
Yeah.
for a sin or a failure in their life. And it's like, how do you blind yourself to what you've done? Like, honestly, you're sitting here talking about this one particular thing, but you kind of have a life of yucky junk. You just think that stuff's better than your sin of,
Right.
heaven forbid, having sex before you're married. Like, that's the worst of the worst, especially if you're a girl. There's a very lopsided scale
Completely.
Yeah.
in the
It
way
is.
people see that.
It
and
is.
that is a problem. I think a lot of this also hinges with our men.
Right.
Our men need to start looking at ladies and young ladies and moms and aunts and sisters and friends and schoolmates as women worthy of respect.
I agree.
And to approach and treat them that way. It shouldn't be our job to control
That
their
is so
mind.
true.
you know, it has to come from both sides.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yep.
And as parents, we need to raise up the next generation of men and teach them those values.
For
teach them
sure.
those things and how to respect
Yes.
women and not just see them as pieces of meat. And, you
Oh,
know,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of men, they don't really have, well, I can speak far as in my race, they don't have that male figure to really look up to,
right.
to have that mentorship, You know, that's why I think it's really important for men of God. I remember my pastor preached a couple of weeks ago. He's like, "What, Adam, where are you? You know, it's time for you guys to rise up and become men in the church. Where are you?" Because when you think about it, what was Adam doing? He was hiding because he was feeling guilty about his sin. Mm-hmm. You know, he was feeling guilty about it, but we need to just break out of that and become the purpose.
Yeah.
Become the purpose that you're supposed to.
Yeah. Men that want to be leaders again and just to stand up as just good, solid men.
And not be afraid to offend anybody.
Right.
Because I think that's such a big part right now.
I remember
that
you
everybody
said
is
that
offended
before.
by everything.
Yeah.
And we need men that are just bold and willing to speak the truth and to stand up for what's right and to teach that next generation.
Please.
And we happen to go to the same church now. Did I
Do
tell you that?
really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I haven't. We have so much to talk about. Anyways, but
Because
that's the
she's
church that I've been
raving
going to.
about
Like,
it.
I
Just
am-
raving.
Oh, it is so nice to have finally found a place to
So
land.
you feel like I do
But-
right now because I have a church where it's like, this is my new home church.
Right.
And they have opened the doors for Robert and I. I mean, and things are exploding, but I'm so happy because I'm like, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what I'm supposed to hear. This is what it's supposed to be like with the people that I go with.
Right.
It's like, and they all care, and it's like genuine.
you feel
I'm
the
like,
love.
where did these people come from? So
And that's
feel
it.
the
I
love,
mean, we felt
yeah.
it from the moment we didn't even get in the building. You know, we were walking up to the building and had already felt the welcome and the love and all of that. And it is.
That's how it
just
was for me and my
I'm
husband
gonna
too.
come visit sometime.
Yeah,
you need
please
to
do.
come
I'm
to
gonna
Sunday.
come
You
visit.
would,
love
you would
it.
love it. It's,
Yeah.
We had 45 people baptized a couple weeks ago, and I have never been a part of anything like that in my life.
Really?
The entire church. Were you not there that day?
Nope, I wasn't there that day. I was sick. Yeah.
Holy cow. I'm not even kidding you. The entire church was up out of their seats at the front. Like, we were all up on the stage and they were around the side getting chills thinking about it.
I've got
Everybody
chills.
was up front. And every time they would baptize somebody, they would go under the water and come back up, and the whole place
Praising
would
God.
erupt. Like, I'm literally chills from head
Yeah.
to toe. And it was just, and we had, so he finished baptisms at like 12:20-ish.
Yes.
And he was like, okay, I'm still feeling like there's somebody out there that, you know, just he's still feeling, he's like, I'm just going to keep this open. 45 minutes later,
45
minutes later, they had baptized like an additional 20 people.
It's beautiful.
It was, I mean, in their clothes.
It's
like,
beautiful.
they're literally taking cell phones out of their pockets and taking their
love it.
shoes off and just getting in. And he's like, the water was like milk
My
at the
husband
end. He's
called
like,
and
"No,
told
that
me
was
about
a
it."
good day, you
Yeah.
know? It was, I mean, I was heavily sobbing. And like, we had a photo shoot right after. And
adore
I was all
this.
like, hi. I've been through it today.
I love it when they allow it to just happen.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's our schedule. Sorry you
Yeah.
didn't make it. Catch us next time.
Same.
It shouldn't work that
It
way.
shouldn't work that way.
No,
You're
no,
right.
no. And, you know, we do the same at ours. It's like, we had, and I'm trying to, it doesn't even matter, just a few weeks ago, he walks up and he's got his notes and he's like, I'm just going to close that. He goes, as I'm walking up here, I'm just hearing what you wrote is not what they're going to hear today.
Wow.
So he goes, something is just on my mind and we're going to see what happens. And it was amazing. Like, it was this powerful, great thing. Just came on down,
That's
standing on the
awesome.
floor with us. People were interacting back and forth, and we ended up having this powerful thing. And I'm like, that's what it's supposed to
That's
be.
what it's supposed to
like,
be.
instead of this rigid in the box, it has to look like this. You can only do this, and you can't do that. And
Oh, yeah.
no. If it feels like you're led to do this, you better be going and doing that, because the Spirit's got, like, if you don't want me,
Right.
so
And the pastor was also saying that if a first-time Christian in a family, right, first-generation Christian is the mom,
yes.
then like 30-something% of families will then become Christians. If it is the father that is the first generation, it is like 85%.
It's completely
It
different.
is unreal. And I heard that number and I was just like, oh, that's because we need the men to be leading, and we need the men to be setting that example and to be the foundation, you know, in the household. And so I want to circle back to what you talked about earlier with the 64% of the women, you know, in that age range. And I want to kind of dive deeper into that and see, like, what are the causes of that? And then what can we do as women to surround these women and to help them? Like, what can we do to change that number, I guess, is my biggest question.
To change the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the problem is, far as, like you said, not having the men in the home. It makes a difference. Because even us as women, we look up to our fathers, right? We look up to our fathers. I can remember my dad coming home from work, and I'm really excited. You know, he's the head of the house and everything. He's the provider, and I just couldn't wait to see my father. And I had a different respect. You know, I hate to say that, but I did. I had a different respect for my father than I did for my mom.
Right.
He could say one thing and it's getting done.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's getting done. And I was his little girl, and I was the favorite, I would say. But yeah.
She's a twin. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, I'm a twin.
Did.
Yeah, she's the oldest. I always say that.
I love it.
But yeah, I think that matters a great deal far as the men rising up and being that example. You know, so we as women, I know myself, I can't teach my son how to be a man.
Absolutely.
I can love on him, you know, and show him, you know, do's and don'ts and, you know, things to stay away from in the world and, you know, but how to be a man, controlling your anger, you know, and I think that's the problem too. A lot of men have anger issues. They don't really know how to really express that.
Well, they've never really been allowed to. Generationally, you know, men have had to be the rock, you know.
Yeah, don't cry.
I don't show emotion.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I am just the steadfast rock, no, you know, never changing. And I think that no matter who you are, if you don't express things like that, it's going to build up.
That's so true.
And
it's going to build up in a different way.
You know, frustration, anger, all of that. And so, yeah, I think that I do love the fact that the culture is shifting in that way, where it's becoming more acceptable for boys, men to show their emotions, you know, a little bit more. And then, of course, they would use the word like, you know, don't be a pussy or whatever. You know? But like, yes, but there's that balance of still being a man,
right?
But saying, this is okay. I mean, look at Jesus. He was a manly man. He was a carpenter. I love when people try to say that he was soft, because I was like, no, he would have had calloused hands. He would have been muscular and very, very manly. You know, there was nothing in the Bible that says that he was like some wuss. You know,
that's
just,
like,
that's not
I don't believe that at all.
You know, I mean, he's flipping tables over, and you know, but again, in a controlled manner.
Yes.
He sat down when he was angry. He sat down and he took the time to braid the whip before he went in. He didn't just fly off the handle. You know, he was very controlled. So he had the emotion of anger, which again, God gave us that. Like,
righteous anger. Righteous anger. Yeah.
And so that's an okay thing as long as it is channeled the right direction.
Absolutely.
And so I love
that's the key word right there.
Yes, exactly. I love to use him as an example because he showed his emotions.
Yes.
He
teaching us.
lived his emotions, and yet he's like the manliest man. You know, like he is the man. You know, and I think the only thing that some people struggle with is like that we don't have a marriage example from Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, so because that was just not something that he was in.
Right.
But in the Bible, it does teach us all about marriage, and he taught about marriage, and he taught about, you know, how the church was his bride. And,
yes,
you know,
in relations
like
of I'm willing to do this because of the love I have for you and the responsibility as your head and as your leader. I will give my life to protect you and cover you and all of that. And there is just a natural, when somebody has done that much for you, when you've been undeserving, there is a natural desire to honor and follow that headship, because you're never abused under it. You are only loved, and all of it is to elevate you.
To elevate you.
Marriage done right with man as a head is not to put this wife right down here. This husband is holding her up to her best person she could possibly be. It's not
Well
to
said.
stifle
I
any
love
of
it.
her.
Yes.
None of it.
Up on that one.
Yes,
Absolutely.
mic drop.
Yes.
Yes,
It was
awesome.
never to stifle who she was. Jesus didn't put his church second.
Yes.
He put her first.
Yeah.
First. That has shifted, and a lot of it has to do with, I'm sorry, our race is men hundreds of years ago that dictated this is what it looks like. And it doesn't. We didn't get it right over here at all. And we pay the price for that in, the way, I mean, I could give you a bazillion examples from my own family and church history of, the domino results of that, of saying man is the absolute head of the house and
Right.
domineering, and the wife is a meek and subservient, yes, dear, no, dear, anything you want, dear. And that is not the intent.
Right.
That is never the intent. If a man puts his wife under him, he's not following the model right.
Right, and marriage works when people remember that. But again, I love what you said. That was so profound.
It was.
Is that because I don't care how strong of a woman you are.
Right.
I've always saw myself as a very strong woman.
Yep.
We need our men in our lives.
Yes.
Because they have a strength that we simply don't have.
Right.
And it's just hardwired into them. And I'm not saying in any way that women are not as strong as men. That's not
Right.
what I'm saying. But I'm going to use my situation right now. I could not have made it through what I've gone through for the past almost 7 months without my husband holding me, supporting me. He's doing a dance right in front of me, which is really funny. But
I'm showing him honor like he
genuinely,
expects.
100%. I wouldn't be where I am right now, as healthy as I am, as mentally okay as I am.
Yes.
Because I break down all the time, and he just picks me back up, and he holds me, and he, lifts me back up, and is like, "You can do this," and all
Yes.
of that. Even in the physical aspect, where I get down on myself, and I'm like yesterday, I'm like, I'm really missing my boobs. I just I usually sat like this, and I would just they were comfortable, and I'm like, I'm just missing them. And so he
Welcome to my life. I like
literally
mine
took
too.
his hands and put them like this, and then I put my hands over top, and I was like, there. Oh, that's so good. But it was the sweetest
That
thing.
is
But,
so
those
sweet.
are
Aw.
the things that
Yep.
I am a puddle on the floor, and he just comes and he lifts me. He doesn't stand over me and hold me down. He lifts me so that I can get back up again.
That's the
and,
model.
and
That's
fills me with that
beautiful.
strength.
That's
and I
the
think
model.
that is. So if marriages could figure that out, I think that
Yes.
it would just be so much more healthy.
Men
See,
do
that's
not
a beautiful
have to
thing,
dominate.
and to just think about, a lot of women will not be able to experience that type of love. It is so sad to hear it, and that's why my heart just goes out.
Can you
Women,
imagine-
get it together. Are we the problem why we're not married?
I don't think so
Is
necessarily.
it that, or is this? Do you think sometimes it's our attitude? Is I got it all together, I don't need a man? Because I hear that a lot.
Yes,
There
I think
could be a
that's- I
lot of
think that's
that.
Some of that.
Yeah.
But does
But I
that
think that-
also come because we don't have that men and woman relationship? It's we can all do exactly the same thing. It's a 50-50 thing. Marriage should never be 50-50.
No,
You should
it's
both be in
100.
100.
Yes.
100.
If you want to see me just get a little just be quiet, don't say anything. It's it's 50-50, meet in the middle. And I'm like,
No.
then what happens to all the percentages on either side of you then?
Right.
Who's got that? No. You're all in 100, 100.
100.
But why can't women come to the table as a woman with the strengths that she typically has as a woman, and men come with their strengths and as they are as a man? But it's we fight against that in a world that wants to blur the differences. There is no difference between a man
Everybody's
and a
the
woman,
same. Yeah.
and it's not in. It mirrors and balances each other beautifully, not in a top and a bottom way,
Right.
but in the side by side. Then you've got that whole, because we have characteristics and traits they don't have.
Right.
They just don't have, and they need that from us. That tempering and the emotions and a softer
and
approach.
it balanced them out.
Yes, it's what they need. And my husband can't cook; he needs me. So
Mine can cook, but I don't want to eat his food. Yeah. I'm like, no, just have a seat. Let me handle this. So, no, I'm not trusting your food, especially where you come from. As far as prison, they whip all kind of stuff.
We can talk. We can put a cookbook. He made some ramen the other day.
Yes.
It's called his prison ramen. I'm like, I've watched in utter fascination. He goes, in the secret, you'll use half the packet because you want the seasoning for other things.
You want to season for other things.
He added like cheese crackers and maybe some Cheetos. Like he made some weird,
some Cheetos.
He made this weird prison casserole, and there you go. And I'm like, how is it? And he goes, like. It's prison.
He has one it's called Nacho Dew. I'm like, Nacho Dew? I don't want to try that. I don't want to try anything that has dew on the end.
Based on the name. I'll have a salad, thank you.
Right. So, no, I would not let him cook.
But I think you were onto something when you were saying that women are saying, like, I can do this. Like, I'm strong, I can do this. However, in my own life, when I say those words, most of the time it's a defense mechanism, and it's me trying to be strong when I'm not. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Convincing
Totally.
yourself I am.
Because it's coming out of a place of fear and hurt and anxiousness about past things that have happened and
regret.
And so, like, when I say I can do it on my own, first of all, I sound like a toddler. And second of all, it is like this stubborn nature that I have that, like, needs to prove something.
Yeah.
And when I soften myself and I say, no, I do need help. Like, I can't do this on my own. If I have to, like, if something happened to Erin and I had to do it on my own, I wouldn't have a choice. I would have to do it on my own.
Right.
But I don't want to.
You're not going
Right.
to choose
I'm
to.
not choosing to. I don't want to.
You are just convicting me with your convictors over there. That's
I have no idea where it's
that
coming
is
from.
my worst trait. Like that whole one thing, I revert to old history and habits of I had to do it by myself. So I'll automatically assume one negative type thing will push me back to I'm not approaching you again. I'm not asking you again. I am doing this by myself for the rest of my life. And there I sit. And I'm like, but I don't want to do it by myself for the rest of my life. But then it's like human pride gets in the way.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
then,
like, well, now I'm obligated to do it by myself. And I'm mad about that. So then I stew and I look like a fool.
And now
I
you're
sit
just an
down and
angry
hear
woman.
you. I know, and I don't want to be. So
Well, and I used to think when I was younger that, like, there was strength in being, like, a strong, independent woman. Like, I don't even know where that came from, but I was like, oh, yeah, like, I can, I'm independent,
it
Like,
sounds so good.
He's called me out on a few times, like, what? Like, you don't have to be independent. Why are you being independent? Like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like it's a good trait.
I
like,
know.
I feel like I should be doing
It's what
this.
strong, independent women say.
But I feel like it was like a cultural shift from the woman's, like
Right.
when we were reforming everything, and then it, like, literally swung way too far the
to
other
the other.
direction, and it was like, okay,
Right.
settle down now.
I know.
We've gotten what we wanted, we
Because
thought.
there's room for both sides.
Yes.
But they did it at the expense of women who actually do want to choose to stay home and raise their kids.
Yeah.
And maybe they love to cook and have the meal ready. Women should be able to celebrate and choose that for their
Choose
life
that,
too,
right.
without it being an inferior. Oh, that's all you do? Have you stayed home
Right.
with 6 kids and did it all by yourself ever? And you want to tell me no?
What?
Stay-at-home moms are the most underpaid,
yes.
of
So-
every job that there could
Right.
be out there.
But again,
Don't shake your head.
yeah, on that.
All right, what do you disagree with on that one?
How are you underpaid? You stayed home for 13 years with the kids. How are you ever underpaid?
I didn't get a paycheck.
You got all my money.
Valid.
That
I went to
Valid.
work. I went to work
You're right.
60 hours a week.
Yep.
Came home, put it all in a bank account
Yes.
that you were connected to, and
Yes.
didn't buy myself anything.
Okay,
for-
but I
That's awesome.
was saying from the perspective of, like, a working mom saying to a stay-at-home mom, like, what do you do? You just stay at home all the time.
'Cause they
like,
do
I
judge.
work and I take
Yeah.
care of the kids. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. I'm saying to you, and I'm only speaking loud so that the microphone the
Yeah.
right ways.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that just because it appears that way doesn't mean that it is that way.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're looking at
as
just the
As a
financial.
father who supported his wife and children,
Right.
I never once felt like you were underpaid, for one, because you got paid all of my money. Yes. And I also never felt what you did, I needed you to go get a job instead.
No, you never treated it like that.
Because I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So
But there are
Yeah.
some that do, so that's why I was saying.
Maybe, but in the same regard with the independent woman, the only reason you're not an independent woman is you're married.
Yes.
And let me interject on because it's not many real men like you. And that's why I really thank God for my husband. He is the same way. I didn't have to work. I've been jobless. Well, I quit my job 2 years ago. And so he's like, I'm not going to pressure you to work if that's what you don't want to do. So me having this free time, loving on myself, developing who I am, making a choice to do things that I want to do to better myself, and that's what a husband is, to make our load lighter. I feel like we shouldn't be pressured to have to go to work. If you need help, I'm here to help you. So it's not too many men that would stand up and say, baby, I'm going to take care of you. You don't worry about that. I got you. So I applaud our husbands for that.
Yes, very much so.
It's beautiful.
So I want to recognize, though, that you were in a position where you did carry the load.
Yes.
And it was on your shoulders.
Yes.
And you were doing everything for a while because of circumstances. So you are now in a season of your life where he's in a position to be able to take over what you were doing.
Yes.
To allow you to no longer put life on hold, but you can step forward into developing you.
Yes.
Because of circumstances, you didn't do that for 12 years.
Yes. That is so, that's true. And I'm glad that you brought that up.
Hi, would you like to be on our podcast
I am on the
with
podcast.
us? Hi, welcome.
I have to speak on this one.
Husband.
Okay.
So this is something for all of you. I'm standing at a table with 3 women who
You don't have
understand
to yell anymore because the
right
microphones
next
are
to
right
it.
next
Right
to
next to
it. That was
Okay.
crazy loud.
Legit. I'm standing next to 3 women who get it. So this is for everybody out there that does not get it. All you women out there that don't see it, your man that wants to work so that you can stay home, he's not doing it for anything other than it makes his life easier if you are working on yourself and sane. Because you're not outside working for some other man, your life being dictated by some other man that's not part of your household to bring in some cash. Nobody cares about the cash. Stay home if that's what your husband wants you to do.
Right.
You know you'll be better for it. Make yourself sane and good, and your household will be better for it too.
Yes.
That's all
true.
I'm saying. And it makes us all happy. Any real man out there, happy to do it.
Happy to do it. There you go. Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you for joining our podcast. I think sometimes he really just wants to sit at the table with us.
That's fine. A good subject like that. And
No, I know.
Yeah,
He
it's
actually
awesome.
waited
It's
the
good.
microphone for a hot second, and then
Yeah,
we had to
that's
take
good.
it back away.
I appreciate that you as a man are willing to stand up and say, our women are not asking for too much when they say, I want to be home. I want to raise these children of ours together. I want to build our home. I want to take care of our home. And that is our contribution to the marriage. The husband doesn't come home and it's like, well, I'm going to do some dishes. I'm going to do some laundry and I'm going to do this. And again, I know that's not for everybody, but I also know there are a lot of women that truly do long for this.
Yes.
It's a natural thing when you give
It's a
birth to a
natural
child
thing.
to want to be with that child.
Right.
It's not natural to hand it over for more hours during the week than you get with them.
Right.
And I remember the short period of time that I had some kids that were being watched for that long, and it just was eating my soul.
Right.
It was eating my
I can
soul because
relate.
my desire, I wanted to be the one to raise them. I wanted to be with them. I loved being home with them. I certainly didn't feel like I was doing nothing because this whole watching TV and bonbon things, I kept waiting for that to happen. my kids were making messes or wanted to go outside or something had to be done. It's not like I lived a bonbon and Netflix life. It didn't happen.
Nope.
I was grateful for the time that I did stay home when that was my job and that was my career, and I don't feel unfulfilled because of it. As my kids got older, and then I did get my paramedic license and worked my grown-up job, so to speak, my kids weren't littles. They weren't babies. They, it was a different phase in life.
Thing,
but
right.
I appreciate hearing a man, a good, strong, manly man saying, be a man and be willing to support your family, your wife and your kids. Go to work hard, come home, and be a family. Don't begrudge this mom who's raising your children.
And on the same regard, it's got to be that way the other side.
Yes.
A woman has to be able to offer something. She can't just sit home and feel entitled.
Right.
And not
Sarah, just take all the money like that.
It's like on the Jetsons.
There's plenty of women out there that sit home. They demand that their husband works and they don't. It's not 1950 anymore. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
Right.
That was what I was going to say as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
But if
You're right.
But if you're gonna be home, Sarah and I, this is how it's been our whole relationship. When she stayed home, there was food ready for me most nights. Sometimes I get it, but there was food ready for me. She has never in the 23 years we've been married complained about me wanting to go out with friends or go away from the house to get away to go do something relaxing. Because for a man, you work your 40 hours plus a week, and then you come home to work as well, right? Just like a woman works all day at the house and then works all night at the house. It's the same concept. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space. And I always give her space.
Sometimes I just kick them out of the house because I'm like, be gone, I must clean.
Yin and yang, it's push-pull. You have to work for each other. That's all.
And that's important to have your space.
It is. Yeah. And Sarah is not a doormat personality. Sarah is not this meek and mild and submissive and okay, nothing about me matters. You are the opposite of that.
Right.
And that you're describing a healthy relationship dynamic that you two have established.
Well, and you have to show appreciation for the fact that if you want your man to go out and do that, right? Like you want to stay home with the kids and take care of the house and all of that, and you want your man to go and work, you need to be appreciative of the fact that he is literally breaking his body every day, whether he's doing a physical job or not, it could be mentally breaking, it doesn't matter. But that he's going out and doing that, you need to be appreciative of that. Now, that doesn't mean like he walks in the door and you're like, oh, I'm worshiping you, honey, because that's just not the thing, But to tell him thank you, like thank you for doing that so that I have the privilege and the honor to stay home with the children, because again, not everybody can do that. That is a complete blessing. And
it is a blessing.
That is, it's kind of rare these days,
it is.
Especially in this economy.
It
is
rare.
a difficult thing to be able to have a single income with children in this economy, in this crazy, like groceries are $1,000,
Oh my goodness.
So there might need to be that conversation of like, I might need you to pick up a couple hours here and there, and so just saying, okay, I will
gotta get
figure
by
this out. Because a lot of times men are like, well, I'll go get a second job or I'll go get a third job or I'll, again, that's too much. That's too much in the wrong direction.
I experienced that in my growing up because women just, they just didn't.
Right.
So it was the norm for men to have 2 jobs, often 3, to afford what was dictated that you had to do. And everything suffered because, again, there was no difference between that and an absent father because they're absent. Anyways, they never saw their kids. By the time they get home, the kids are in bed. They're working weekends. It's, and then there's one day that's Sunday, but, that's a busy day, morning, and then again at night. And that does not work and it doesn't benefit because those beautiful, precious kids you're raising, I'm going to guess that dads kind of would like to spend some time with them too sometimes. And we need to make that happen. It's important for the kids.
When
Very
you
important.
say
and
that,
for the mom.
far as, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
When you say that sometimes, I don't know if you experience this or not, but staying at home, like you're kind of judged,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
you know? And I get that a lot with me. Like, oh, you stay at home? Like you're not working? I worked 36 years of my life straight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if my husband says it's okay for me to take a couple of years off or leave it up to me to decide to go to work when I want to, so be it.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
so
you've put your time
I
in.
wonder
You
where
haven't
does
just
that
been
judgment come from? Like you're judged like you're
I
not
think it's
doing
jealousy.
enough.
It's the
You think
80s.
so?
No, I think it's
The
jealousy.
80s.
I think it's
It's the
jealousy.
80s.
Sure, it is.
I think it's jealousy too. I didn't think about that at
1980s,
first.
Women were literally moving to the top of Fortune 500 companies.
Mm.
1990s, they were running all of these companies. They were the boss in the 90s. And the 2000s came, and these women wanted nothing more than to get back into the home.
That's what I was saying about
Jealousy,
the pendulum swinging
yeah.
too far the other
They
direction,
push,
and
push,
then
push, got to the top, and now all they want is nothing more. One of the best business minds I ever met, her name was Bobby Lindemann. She was amazing. She ran Wolverine Worldwide. And
Okay.
and that woman told me one time in a conversation that all she wanted to do was go home to her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
It's
A
wild.
lot. It's a sacrifice that a lot of women have made, but the consequences, I think, have really been felt in our kids. And I think in generation, you're kind of seeing that moms were gone as much as dads were gone. And working that full-time job morning to night, we're human beings. We don't get excited about punching out that clock knowing we're going to go home and we got to work when we get home. Now we got to catch up and do all the homework. We got to do all the laundry.
Laundry,
Who's going to do
cook,
the grocery
yeah.
shopping? Who's going to clean the house? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Nobody wants to, but it has to be done. So when do the kids get time?
Their time.
Or, you know, life is just, it's so hard anyways. But like you said, the cost of things nowadays,
Oh, wow.
like my daughter with Beckett and Elliot with the two kids, very, very, very blessed that she's able to be home with her kids. It's very unusual in their age group. Hannah, working it out with work with her new one while Levi's in school. She'll go in a few mornings a week, but baby's with her. She's got her. And
That's
she's
good.
like, I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with this schedule, but very much, Will is very much about, you're my lady and these are my kids.
That's
and
good.
what you do is important. And he's very much about the more time, the better versus when are you going to go to work? It's more like, do you have to? And I really appreciated that my daughter is with somebody that sees what she does as such a valued, beautiful,
really
precious
good.
thing. He's like, well, look at these kids.
How old is he?
So he is 29. He's going to be 30.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
you don't see that at that age at all.
No.
You don't see that.
No. And he
Yeah.
is just he's a good man. You met him. He's just a solid, good guy. And he's like, everybody just kind of mocked me because he goes, I'm a black man in my late 20s and I have no children. And but he goes, it's always been my plan that when I have kids with somebody, it's like, that's going to be my forever thing. And he jumps in enthusiastically about the whole thing. He's just a doting father, and he's so good to my daughter, who she's brilliant in her mind, like was going pre-med and would have thrived in anything she ever did. The book smarts was just phenomenal.
That's good.
But she shared her heart with me as she was sitting in college down in Texas at Baylor University, a prime college and a beautiful program. And she was just in tears. And I asked her, well, honey, what is it you want to do? And she goes, nobody's going to understand. And I said, well, what is it that you want? She goes, I want nothing more than to be a wife and a mom.
Right.
That was her heart's desire. But she says, everybody expects me to be
See.
all these things because I'm so smart. And it's like, I hear you. Because I felt that way. I was so excited to be home and with my kids. I loved it. Did I have bad days? Well, kids are like, they got more energy than you do in
my.
that. But man, I cherished it and I treasured it. And I feel bad for women that due to circumstances that's taken from them. They don't get to make that choice and option. So I believe it's up to the rest of us to support them and be there and to encourage and come alongside. That's all I got to say.
There are many women that enjoy working. They really want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to find that balance between raising their children and working. And
agreed.
I think that's beautiful. You know, I think the whole thing is about women being able to choose what they want to do. You know, there's not one right pattern. There's not one wrong.
This isn't a cookie cutter thing where everybody looks the same.
Choose that and
agree.
make that decision. I mean, I had a lot of people that were like, you gave up your teaching career to raise your children? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, don't you feel like you're wasting your degree? And I'm like, no, not even in the least. I'm like, have you raised children? To be a teacher is very helpful. You know? Like, there's a lot of things that I use. And, you know, for different times, my kids at different times have had to be homeschooled for different circumstances. And I have used my teaching in all of that, you know, and I subbed for years at my kids' school when they were in school. And I literally could see them every day. And it was wonderful.
Oh, that's
and I
beautiful.
loved that, you know?
Love it.
So again, it's all about those choices.
I hate that. You gave up.
I didn't give up my teaching.
Education is education is never wasted. No. I don't care what it is in. If you have learned something, educated yourself, even if you don't use it, it's not a waste.
Right.
Using your mind and learning something is never a waste. I don't care if you went all the way to a doctorate in something and you were top of the field. If you said, all right, I am ready. I want to go home and hang out with my kids and raise them and run a house. Yeah. You didn't waste that education.
Or even going a different direction with your life. You know, if you got a degree in something and then you're like, yeah, I really don't want to do that anymore. You know, I want to
start a business. Yeah.
Okay, that's what life is all about.
For
is
sure.
All those different experiences and doing different things. And you don't have to do the same thing for your entire life. Because that's, you know.
You can be like me and change again in your 50s. Yeah. So here you go. And it's the best thing ever. I thrive on learning new things. And I'm kind of that impulsive thing. Something's like, this is really calling to me. And I've become such an advocate for that. If you have that in your life that just isn't letting you go, and it just causes this desire in you to go after that or to learn about that, if you have the means to do it, stop saying no to it. Even if it seems odd or weird, or if it's a hula hoop for a circus act, I don't care. If that is your passion and brings you joy and you have the means and ability to do it, why not?
Exactly.
Why not? You know, I did my weird, I guess I'm going to go to school and become it seemed so crazy and odd because I'm like, aren't I supposed to be transitioning to what am I going to do in my retirement? And I just made a decision that I'm like, no, I guess I'll do this because now it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work. And I'm like, I want to do this until I die. And
because you're birthing out your purpose.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. And I think we have, us women, we have so many different phases in life. You aren't sacrificing to raise your children. I promise you, you have got so many years and so much time. And I'm better now doing what I am rather than if I had tried doing that in place of staying home and raising my kids. My experiences, life, everything. I think I finally figured out in my 50s what I want to do when I get big. And I'm glad I get to do it. So yeah, so don't ever think it's too late or you missed the boat because you didn't. Like, I love seeing the pictures of college commencements, and you see this little 90-year-old lady in the little cap, in the gown, that went and got that degree.
Yep.
That's
People
my mom.
might say, what a waste.
My mom
no,
was
it isn't.
62.
It's beautiful.
Well, she was the oldest in her class.
Bravo.
And I'm glad that you said far as not feeling like it's too late.
It isn't.
Because that's where I was at a point in my life. Like, oh, I'm in my 50s and, oh, I feel so old because I haven't accomplished this, and this. When I compare myself, and I think that's a lot of our problems as women, we compare ourselves to our friends, our family.
Right.
social
Yes.
media. You know, the people that we
social
might,
media stuff.
I know.
Everybody's just so perfect on there.
Yeah,
How do
they just
do
so
it?
perfect. I'm like,
But
oh,
you lose at the comparison game every time.
yeah, you do
Always.
because
You're
you
gonna lose.
are you. It's
Yeah.
only one you.
There's only one.
Isn't God awesome? It's only one you. So just how great is that?
I know.
All you have
So
to do is work
special.
on being the best you.
You,
That you can
right?
be. That's it. That's
Be the
so
best
easy.
you.
Like that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the problem. It is that easy.
yeah.
But see,
But
it's that
we've
fear.
expected it's supposed to be harder and more complicated.
It's that
but-
fear of the unknown
Yeah.
when you walk down that path of not
Yeah.
knowing what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so the enemy loved to grab us and, shake us with that fear and that anxiety.
Nobody
like
else
you're not
looks like
good enough,
that.
or you're not this or that, or
Right.
you don't have that degree, or people are going to be judging you,
When you can
So-
release yourself from all of that,
Oh.
it is so beautiful. And
It
so
is.
freeing.
That's where your
It
peace,
is.
Yeah.
your peace is right there.
Yeah. Because you're really good at being you. Like that's.
I'm-
you don't need any
and
lessons. You just can.
I love being me. And I
Yeah.
had no idea. It was the one thing I didn't
You
allow
didn't have no
myself
idea?
to be. No,
Wow.
zero. Because it wasn't something I was allowed
It's
to
a
do
story
growing
behind
up.
that. It's a story
Right,
behind
growing
that.
up, we couldn't be who we were.
Okay.
We had to fit. Always happy.
Wow.
Always pleasing, helpful and, all the time. And I'm really good at that. But I just choose, I will not do that anymore. I'm not living fake. I'm going to live
Right.
authentic and I'm going to dress how I want. I'm going to do the things that I want. I want to have fun and play. And if I want to go to school, if I want to, whatever, I'm going to do it. And before, when I used to look around to see if anybody was laughing or pointing or talking about me, I'm oblivious to it all because I'm too busy living my very best life.
Right.
And what I had also realized before, all that time I wasted, like, are they laughing? Nobody was paying attention anyways. I made
Exactly.
myself so
See?
much more than I was.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm like,
Everybody's too busy all
Right.
worrying about themselves.
I
They're not
know.
even looking at you. They're not even paying attention to
Right.
you.
Because we are our worst enemy.
Yeah. We
So
are.
many times. We
Yes.
are our worst enemy.
Yeah.
And the enemy just plays on that.
always.
Oh, he's looking at you. She's looking at you.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
someone's
you shouldn't have wore that
laughing.
color.
You look so dumb. Oh, that
Yeah.
looks horrible on you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. And the people that I noticed anyways were always the one that marched to a different beat. And I could never figure it out until I realized they're not
Yes.
worried about what everybody's saying.
Right.
They are
Not at all.
literally just their authentic self.
Self.
And I love those people. I love those people
Oh,
now.
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it's like when you watch people on a dance floor, and I love that. You don't always have the crazy one that you're like, I can't take my eyes off of you because they're literally just out there and they do not care.
Yeah.
So
if
free.
anybody's watching them.
They
you know,
can't
are
dance
just
and they don't
doing
care.
Yeah,
it. And
they're
everyone
just
else
so
is kind of just
free.
over there like doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
you know, like,
Shoulder
and they're just-
dancing, yeah.
and
That's
I
my
love
dad.
that.
That's my dad. He's just free on the dance floor. He
Yes.
doesn't care. Like,
I love it.
he's just getting loose or whatever.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite kind of people, and I gave myself the gift of you only have to be you,
You
for
only
the
have to
rest
be you.
of your life. There is nothing to prove to anybody. You don't have to earn anything. You don't have to show people that you are worthy of respect or love. That's inherent in me, in every single one of us. And the freedom that comes in that, when I'm not trying to earn it or gain it or prove that I'm worthy of keeping your love. Oh, is that freeing? It is the best feeling in the entire world. I'm not giving this life up. I'm just
Yes.
So we're gonna kind of take this in for a landing here, and I just want to mention that those people that are out on the dance floor feeling free like that,
Yes.
they didn't start that way. That was a
No.
journey. They had to get to that point, because we are like that when we're little. Think about toddlers and little kids. I mean, they'll say anything and do anything and just pee wherever. And so they already are free. And then we go through this terrible phase called middle school, and
Oh,
we
yes.
just we don't know who we are, and then we go through the teenage phase, and then we spend a long journey trying to
Yes.
figure out how to get back to who we were
Who
when
we
we were
were.
young and kids and toddlers.
that kind of ties in with Jesus saying, "Gotta be like children."
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. Just that
Yes.
pure, untainted
Yes.
faith of pure, untainted, just
Isn't that
being
the
able
best?
to
That's
be
beautiful.
Isn't
So,
that the best?
Yeah.
free. I want to
Yes.
remind you out there as our audience that you are the only one that can be you. you are perfect at being you because nobody else can be you. So we just want to remind you of that, and we hope that you enjoyed the conversation today. I know that I very much did.
Is this your book?
No, my book is not out yet.
Perfect.
It will
when
be
you
out.
have that, you'll let us know and share it with us.
Be sure to put a link on everything so that when the book comes out, we can let people know. But we appreciate you coming
very much.
Yes, I appreciate both of you guys.
And this was fantastic.
We're three strong, semi-independent women.
I love it.
Yes.
All right. Well, have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.
It's awesome.
That was great.